spectacular they were. That wasn't the first thing that came to my mind.
Well,
but
I'm not saying they're
think
spectacular. I'm saying like
it's just
the energy.
The energy
for the song to be popular. I don't think he had to go that far.
I got you.
But I felt like he was putting his
punching way above his weight for that one.
Yeah, I feel like he's putting his A game into it when it was like a C song. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 31 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Michael, Anthony, and Steven. Hey, fella.
Hey, fella. I was like looking over here. I was like looking for the cardboard cutout of Michael, but since he's not here tonight.
That's why there's just one fella tonight.
Well, it does feel, I have to say, a little bit weird just being here with the two of us recording this and not having our fellow comrade in bourbon over here.
Yeah, I agree. Normally he comes with us with the stories right off the bat, but we'll have to pick up the slack tonight.
Exactly. And then the other thing is I don't know what it is about having him over to the right here, but I know that every time after the intro goes,
you look at him.
He always says, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And then I just bust out laughing. I have no idea why. So tonight I was able to get through without having to start laughing right off the bat. So I guess that's a good thing. I want to give a special birthday shout out to Michael and his wife. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason Michael's not here tonight. We're past the Michael and his family's birthday season. I call it. It's the springtime, moving into summer. But this is his wife and him have a birthday, 3 days apart from each other, or 2 days apart from each other. So tonight's his wife's birthday. So happy birthday, Mrs. Michael.
Oh yeah, Macho Man says happy birthday. That's my terrible impression, but I had to bust it out for something, so I'm excited.
And then they got to go to the family stuff afterwards, so we lost them for the week.
Yeah, that's kind of difficult when you got a big commitment with two birthdays and different things going on. Yeah. But, we all go through that stuff, so I just came off of some birthdays, too. And the other fun fact is
we had lots of fun facts.
We realized that my wife and Michael were actually born on the same day in the same year.
Yep.
And so they're true birthday buddies, and we recently found that out, so that was super exciting.
Yeah. Well, I think tonight we're going to switch it up a little bit. We don't have a bottle of our normal variety this evening. We are going to switch it up to maybe a little beer bourbon or bourbon beer.
Hey, however you want to put it out there. Yeah. Bourbon beer bourbon. So keeping with our bourbon theme here, we decided to do a KBS. So this is a Founders KBS. KBS stands for Kentucky Breakfast Stout.
I did not know that.
This is the espresso version. So it's a stout brewed with chocolate and coffee aged in bourbon barrels. And so it doesn't say what kind of bourbon barrels here, but this particular bottle that we're going to be drinking is bottled in 2019. So I don't know how much you know about these stouts, Stephen, but it actually says on here that you should age these a little bit longer because they tend to develop in the bottle over time.
Really?
Yeah. So like the Chicago, Goose Island stuff, right? Mm-hmm. The Goose Island stuff tends to, nice. That's very good. The Goose Island stuff tends to develop more, I think, up to 5 years in the bottle. And so this is much in the same vein where it supposedly gets better with age. So the longest I've ever aged one is 4 years, and I did keep, some flavor notes, I guess, from the original one. And it does seem to mellow out. Like it's not as harsh with the alcohol. So I tried one of these back when I got these in 2019. I just put one away. So we'll have to see what these taste like tonight.
Well, definitely, this is a good one to do without Michael because he is not a stout man.
He's not a stout. Is he or no? He's not a stout man, and he must not be a stout drinker.
Especially if it has espresso to it.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
This looks delicious.
The comments he'd be making about the coffee, right?
Right.
But it's like this stuff is so dark in the glass that you can't even see through it.
No, it is.
Yeah,
it's black gold right now.
Smells like fresh brewed coffee and what the heck would you say here? Some maltiness.
Oh, that's great. That's really good.
Yeah. I'll just put this out there. I love Founders beer. They're out of Michigan. I'm not sure if they're still independent. I think they got bought by somebody. Not to hold that against them. All these great companies get bought by somebody. But the first time I went searching for Kentucky Breakfast Stout, it was quite the chore to get it. I had to drive around like crazy, much like the Goose Island Stout used to be. That stuff seems like it's cooling out a little bit, but it was almost like the bourbon hen gets, when you're driving around trying to find a 4-pack of it to pay $30 for it or whatever.
I was just going to ask you, my craft knowledge is not that great, but I do know I used to work with this guy that he used to go. I used to make fun of him for buying 4-packs, and I know he would drive to Cincy or anywhere for a beer release.
Yep.
And I was going to ask, is this kind of in the same thing where it's a release?
Yeah,
kind of like a bourbon release.
It has, and I mean the hardcore beer geeks. Because let's put it this way, I feel like I used to be one, but I'm not so much anymore. I do know that back when I was more into craft beer, it is pretty much the same thing. So people are always asking, when is this going to come in? How many bottles you're going to get, especially with the Goose Island. But it seems like that's mellowed out a little bit. Like last year, I don't know if it was COVID or whatever, but Goose Island, other than the like really sought after variants, because I think they had like 8 or 9 variants of their bottling last year, a lot of them you could find on the shelf at Total Wine like 3 months after the release.
Really?
Yeah, they were just sitting there. So I don't know if that's just a result of them producing more. Maybe people aren't drinking it as much, but I feel like, and people could probably nail me on this, we are a bourbon podcast after all.
I've got some dumb. I'm going to go ahead and warn you, incoming dumb questions about to happen.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, I feel like craft beer has sort of reached its pinnacle, I guess. And I don't know. You know how like you have a favorite band or something, and then as soon as they release their second or third album, you get people like, they're too commercial now.
They sold out.
Yeah. I feel like craft beer is sold out a little bit. The local ones I still like to patronize a lot, like the ones we have locally here, but some of the national ones, it's very little that gets me excited. But maybe that's more my changing tastes. I drink more bourbon and rye now than I ever have in my entire life. And prior to doing that, I used to drink a lot of beer. So especially when I was in Pennsylvania over Penn State, a lot of those breweries out there, some of that beer I can't get here. And so maybe that contributes to me not drinking as much craft beer.
Well, on these hot nights, I mean, drinking 126 proof alcohol is kind of rough in the heat and the humidity. So I recently have gone to the Moscow Mule route.
Oh.
Yeah. Little Tito's and ginger beer, and it's a little lime in there. It's pretty good.
I think we've mentioned vodka before, but I'll give you a pass on that one because I do like a good Moscow Mule. And the other thing that I will tell you is you can make like a rye version of that. So try that with some rye sometime. Use the Moscow Mule ingredients.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have a rye in particular?
I think Michter's. I like Michter's is one I tried it with. I often like Michter's rye, regular single barrel rye mixed with a lot of different types of cocktails. So maybe try to mix that up and do a Kentucky Rye Mule or whatever.
The Kentucky Mule?
Yeah.
But it's just nice over, a lot of ice.
I hear you.
Just nice.
Yeah.
So when we went out the other night to Bell's.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, the rooftop, and I was getting their Paul's Poker Face.
Oh, okay.
One of their drinks up on the board, and essentially it was a blueberry Moscow Mule.
Oh, nice!
And they had like real fruit in there and real feminine.
I was going to say, where'd they name it after Paul's Poker Face? Was it named after Lady Gaga?
I don't know.
We have that affinity for her from the earlier episode. We talked about the organs. Remember that?
Yeah.
Fun times nonetheless. I mean, you made me jealous there. You guys went out for cocktails. I got to go out with my wife for her birthday, which was recently. We had a good margarita and some stuff.
Where'd you end up going?
Gosh, how can I forget the name of it?
The same place?
Cortolima.
Oh, that's a great place.
Yeah.
The older brother where we went on the Friday.
Okay, yeah,
because
that's right.
Talex is the same chef.
Yeah.
But I think Cortolima is fantastic.
Yeah, that was the first time we've been there. They opened like 3 years now?
Longer than that.
Longer than that?
Yeah.
And we were all worried because, you never know. A lot of places in Lexington, they got limited seating with COVID, and then they're like, it's first come, first serve. So we thought we might be waiting, but we got there right in time.
It's a small place.
Yeah,
but you know what? It's a 3-story place.
I noticed that. I mean, we were just in a regular bar.
Yeah, so downstairs is, the main area of the bar. There's a second floor secret table. I don't know if it's secret or private table.
I think that's the only thing you can reserve. I don't know how much it costs, but it's like private dining or something like that.
Then on the third floor is kind of like their banquet space. Our Sunday school class.
Oh, nice.
For Christmas, I think 2 years in a row, not obviously this past year, but we would go ahead and rent that out for like our little, holiday get together.
Are you serious? That's
and
awesome,
they would go up there. They had it was a perfect amount of space. They had a big long table, plenty of seating. We could walk around. They had a bartender up there,
Well, I definitely saw people up there when we were there, but it looked like it was a private party.
Yeah, and then it has windows. You can look out to downtown. It's a nice place to like have a little private gathering.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it.
I will just say this. I know you and Michael have done a better job of getting out and doing stuff through the pandemic and like trying to like maintain some sort of like continuity. And my wife and I haven't. We really haven't been going out very much, and I haven't done much with friends. I mean, I've done some breweries and things when things were a little bit better. But, I mean, people who might visit Lexington, it is a total foodie town. I mean, there are so many great restaurants and breweries and other, I mean, forget about the bourbon places and everything else. There's a ton of them. But it really made me, excited. There's certain things that we got used to doing that we stopped doing during COVID, and then just going out the other day just really got me like,
especially downtown.
Going. Yeah, exactly.
Because when we left the bar and we're walking back to the car, I mean, downtown's packed. It's alive. This may sound silly, but there was, just on our short walk back to the car, there was a guy firing up grills on one of the corners.
Oh, really?
And like he was gonna start making ribs and brats, for the drunk crowd later.
Oh, nice.
And we stopped and talked with him for a while, and I thought that's a great idea. But you could smell, smell the charcoal from downtown.
It's all the things that you love about being out at night in a city that you may have missed or you might not even know. I mean, people that I talk to that have never visited Lexington are always like, oh, is it big? Like, you guys got anything there but burgers and fries? That's a true quote, like from some goofball that we met one time at a wedding in New York, and we were just like, come on, man. Like, what are you talking about? And so, I mean, big plug for our city here, for our city. So, speaking of which, I know that are you going with Michael to the festival this weekend?
Oh, yeah. So we were going to go to Railbird.
Okay.
This will be his first time, my second time.
And this is actually the second time for the festival in general. Yeah. So you were inaugural Railbird attendee.
And the only reason we went is because my wife won tickets on the radio.
Oh, nice. Like a call-in thing?
Like a call. She wins them all the time.
That's awesome. Are you serious?
It's absurd.
I didn't know she had that talent.
Oh, she has that talent.
Seventh caller.
Yep. Oh, it's me. So yeah, we got the 2-day pass the first time. This was, I guess, 2 years ago, and we went. Just two of us, and we had a blast. Both days we went. We were there 7 hours each day, probably.
Wow.
We did the whole eating. They had it so well organized for the first inaugural festival there. Yeah. 3 stages, plenty of food. They had indoor stuff. They had go get pours of picked bottles of bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where that's right when the Weller Foolproof came out. So I went and got a pour of that.
Nice.
And just had a great time outside, going between the stages and everything. So last year, of course, they didn't have it. Yeah. So this year, we went ahead and bought the tickets. 50% chance of rain on both days.
Well, I wouldn't read too much into that. I'm knocking on everything here, crossing fingers for you guys. But, like, that weather report that we had, was it last weekend or whatever? That thing was like, 70% chance, and it rained for like 10 minutes. I mean, it hardly even rained. I mean, but that's the other thing about Lexington, though. Sometimes it just, skies open up and it might rain for 3 days straight.
Yeah, of course, the kids have their first soccer games on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
But they're not Saturday morning. It's like Saturday midday.
Oh, God.
So one's at like 12:30, one's at 1:30.
Oh, my God. Isn't the whole point of Saturday mornings or Saturday soccer so you can have like the morning and have the rest of your day free?
I mean, I guess, I don't know if it's because they're getting older. They got shifted back to later times. I'm not sure. But so I guess we won't, on Saturday, I guess we won't be getting there until probably closer to 3:30. I'm guessing. But that's fine. I mean, it open probably starts at 1 or noon. So we're not going to miss that much.
Well, I mean, I will tell you that I've only been to a couple of large outdoor festivals in my life. It's really not usually my scene or preferred method of going. No offense to you guys. I mean, some people love that stuff.
Well, I look at the set list for both days, or who's playing, and I really, as an old man, I really don't know who these people are.
Oh, I was going to say, who's the most recognizable one?
Well, Dave Matthews.
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, Dave Matthews. And there's some other stuff I recognize their names, but you go there and we just hop stages and you just kind of enjoy the music. I mean, it's kind of like a mix between like a bluegrass, folksy, that genre kind of mainly throughout the day. So you just kind of just enjoy the background music and enjoy the the performer as they as they do.
the fact that they've tied the bourbon so heavily into it,
Yeah.
I know that's become a big focal point, and that also helps things tremendously, right? When you know you're going to see, not only you're going to see, some good picks there, but you're probably going to see a lot of local bourbon people and people on the state level that are attending that festival that might be podcasters or involved in the bourbon industry in different ways. I know that I've seen a lot of people saying they're going to be at Railbird. So
yeah, I mean, everyone had nothing but good things to say about it for the first year, and so I can imagine with the way they put it together the first time around, how it's going to go. Expectations for me are going to be high the second time around, and I mean, it was great. They had water stations. You could bring a bottle in. They didn't charge you for water. I mean, Four Roses had their own. There's all these like tents. So Four Roses had a tent. They had like 2 cocktails you could buy.
Oh, nice.
And of course, the drinks were expensive. As you figured.
Of course, yeah.
But
it's a big money maker for everybody.
Oh,
right?
yeah. But as far as like things to do, for all day in the heat, we had a great time.
Yeah.
So 2 days in a row.
Well, and I think that if it's successful this year, and for people that might be listening to this is something that you could plan to come to Lexington for now.
Definitely.
And we haven't had anything like that for a long time, where people could count on it year after year. And I think this is going to be one of those traditions that develops, and you're going to probably see it get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, can you tell me, with live music, what your favorite band to ever see live might be? And then you can... I want to hear it. You had looked like you had a thought there, and I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, you hit me with this. I have to think about the bands I saw.
It doesn't have to be like one all-time favorite. So
let's see. Let's go through my music history.
Okay.
I quickly kind of fell in love with hard rock metal when I was younger.
Okay.
Of course, you grew up listening to adult contemporary in the car with your parents. So
Matchbox 20? No,
this is in the 80s.
This is in the 80s. No, I'm thinking of the stuff that was adult contemporary when we were teenagers. That kind of stuff.
So it went from that to the hard rock, and then of course, I'm pretty much a product of the 90s.
Yeah.
So
me too.
So I went through a big Fish phase.
Okay. Nice.
Saw them, festival. I've always had. I have a pretty wide gamut, so I've always had a kind of a thing for like techno house.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Not that I'm gonna go to a show or anything, but as far as like just enjoying it,
yeah,
I just enjoy the beat, the bass of it, and the beat part of it.
I enjoy some of it. I'm not going to knock it.
Well,
I mean, the same thing.
You know what? I find myself now when I need to focus at work, like I'll turn on Spotify and I'll go to one of the playlists I have.
Yeah,
and all it is just like it's just wordless, just bass music,
just some beats,
and I don't even know what's going on.
People come over to see you like, Steven, did you get this done? You're like, what? You're like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
And I'll basically zone out.
Yeah.
And I'll just like focus on what I have to do and just crank it out.
Nice.
So I've kind of, I've always had the hard rock it's kind of like my core.
Okay.
If you would say that.
I like that. I can identify with that.
I've always been fascinated with drumming, even though I never did it. And I have a good friend that I grew up with that was a drummer.
Okay.
Shout out Jeff in LA. You know who you are.
There you go.
And speaking of which, I've had something on my chest that I want to discuss.
Big news here, maybe.
Not news. There's a song.
Okay.
That I think it's been around my entire life.
Okay.
And I've always just heard it. I've never listened to it. And this song, it was in the 80s. It was kind of during that 16 Candles movie type soundtrack, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that sort of rock
vibe,
music.
That vibe, yeah.
Little Euro, mixed in with this rock.
Yeah.
And, I've always just, just being one of those songs. Let's fast forward like 25 years or 20 years. And this just happened, I'm not kidding you, a year and a half, year or two ago. We're in the minivan now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We moved on
the wonderful family hauler.
Yeah, I call it the highway yacht.
The highway
or the interstate yacht.
There you go.
And of course, this song, I make my kids listen to adult contemporary.
I do the same thing. I torture them with all the music I like. They end up liking it.
Yeah, they gotta have I think they need a strong bass.
Yeah.
Before they explore their own. And I'm listening to the song as, like I said, I'm I've always been fascinated with drums. So I started listening to this song. I'm like, this guy's going off. Like he's on the cusp of just like exploding. Like you can feel his, I'm not gonna say frustration, but his like desire to this like the song that's always been there.
He wants to annihilate the kit. He's just like,
I don't know if they mic'd him heavy or he just plays hard.
Yeah.
He's doing all these like different drum rolls, cymbal patterns. I'm like, what in the world? It's a song I've always heard. Like I said, I'm gonna play a little 2-second clip so you guys can get it in your head.
I'm gonna be completely shocked here. I don't know what's coming at me here. This is
all right.
Okay.
So this is banned by Simple Minds. It's Don't You. All right. As the song progresses,
don't you forget about me.
You know it.
I know it.
So as the song progresses, he gets more and more the drummer gets more and more into it, doing all these double crashes, and basically gets to a crescendo at the end of it.
Yeah.
And it's just going off. And I'm like, goodness gracious. Like even every verse, you feel like he's going up to let's say the hill.
He's climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's not jumping, but he's getting that
close.
just wailing on it. First of all, have you ever listened to that song? I mean, listened to it and I heard it.
And what's interesting to me is that and when you say listen versus hearing, right. I like that you're making that distinction. A communications professor can appreciate that. It's funny because maybe I think I've listened to the song, but maybe I haven't, because when you were talking about the drums and everything and how spectacular they were, that wasn't the first thing that came to my mind.
Well,
but
I'm not saying they're spectacular. I'm saying like
it's just
the energy.
The energy.
That
okay.
I think is for the song to be popular. I don't think he had to go that far.
I got you.
But I felt like he was putting his
punching way above his weight for that one.
Yeah, I feel like he's putting his A game into it when it was like a C song. And
it's definitely catchy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it being a catchy pop rock song, you don't have to go into it because it's got all the hooks and everything for you to grab you that you don't need it musically. You don't need to do it. But I feel like, I don't know.
No, we all have songs like that, and I'm trying to think if I have any specifically that I could think of off the top of my head. I don't know if I could, but
thank you for letting me get this off my chest.
No, I this is like very therapeutic, right? So, I mean, while that drummer, I think we were trying to figure out who it might be. I'm trying to Google over here, and it's not working out too well for me because apparently that band had many different drummers.
They're from Europe, I think. So,
okay, yeah.
I know I've never really looked into it if he moved on or But I can tell you that song on Spotify has almost 500 million listens.
Dang.
That one song.
Do you think that has more listens? Do you think Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up? You think that's got more? Never gonna run around and hurt you. Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't know. I hope Simple Minds has more.
I hope it does. But what I will say is when you mentioned drumming, the one thing that instantly came to my mind was my love for Tool, right? The rock band Tool.
I love them.
And we didn't even really know until we were talking about it that we both shared that interest in that band. But I've seen them live maybe 5 times now. And Danny Carey is just like a wizard, right? Everyone wants to focus on Maynard, and of course the others, Adam Jones and Justin Chancellor, both hold their own, right? They're both pretty amazing musicians. But Danny, I feel like, and Maynard get all the attention, and maybe rightfully so. But God, that guy can just wail on drums, and it never gets old watching them. I hope they can like play till they're like 130 years old each. So
just not even watching, just listening to him. Like,
oh yeah,
and just I'm thinking is it the song 46 and 2 where they get out of timing?
Yeah, they do that quite frequently. But that song,
and then they come back together.
Yeah,
that's always amazed me.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like you're listening to 2 different, like the drummer's doing something completely different than the rest of the band,
and he's off, and then they come back. Yeah,
yeah. Gosh, thinking about all that, it's got me really nostalgic. The first concert I ever went to, and this is going to be really weak, but really respectable. My parents took the whole family and me and my brothers to see the Beach Boys in Chicago in 1987. I was 6 years old at Blossom Music Center, and it was awesome.
I saw the Beach Boys.
You did? They
were at Red Mile.
Okay.
An outdoor concert, and I was young.
Okay.
I do know that. I was young. But yeah, they came there.
I mean, hey, you can say whatever you want about the Beach Boys, but they're a good band, and they're still touring around. Can you believe that? I didn't know that. It's funny. All the time we've been doing this, we haven't really talked about music that much. And of course, with this pending festival coming up, it's natural that get excited and talk about it. But I've never seen. I am a big minority. I've never seen Dave Matthews Band live.
I've seen. So they'll be headlining on Sunday, the second night.
Okay.
And I've seen them. I definitely know once. I don't know if I've seen them twice. I'm trying to think in my head when I saw them, like who opened for them. But I'm getting concerts mixed up now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because I remember when I saw Chili Peppers. Can you believe this? Foo Fighters opened up for them.
Oh really? No way. Gosh, I just saw Foo Fighters right before the pandemic hit. Like right in November, they played Rupp. It was a rescheduled show.
This is a Rupp show, but of course this was a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, my buddy Troy, man, I owe him for taking me to that show because it was originally supposed to be like he and his wife and another friend and his wife, and when the reschedule happened they couldn't go, and so he was just like, my wife can't go either. He's like, so why don't we just go? And I was like, okay, cool. And so it was, man, the Foo Fighters, they must have played for 2.5 hours, and of course Dave Grohl took it personally. He's like, I had to cancel last time I was here, so I'm gonna play for 3 hours, and everyone's like, no way. And then he played for damn near 3 hours. They played. So
that's funny.
That's so Dave Grohl though. He's like Mr. Energy, man. So I mean, even though we're talking a lot about music and everything, it's really exciting. It makes me feel really nostalgic about all the experience I've had because I really do appreciate live music, and I listen to a big diversity of music. But, I'm a little bit more excited about something else that's upon us as well. Do you know what I'm thinking of? Can you read my mind?
Kids going back to school?
Hey, everybody. Steven's really excited about the fact that his kids are going back to school. And yes, I've become, I'm a new parent having the kids taken up in school for the entire day.
Let's just say they're back to school at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. We hope they'll stay in school. But I was thinking the opposite, which is that fall bourbon release season
that's exciting too.
Upon us.
Yeah,
yes, it is. Too. And so I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts, and big shout out to all the other podcasts out there. They've been doing a lot of good coverage on those fall releases. But for me, I'm just like, I might have a wish list of bottles that I want. And if I can get my hands on 5 out of the 30 I might want, I'm feeling good about life.
I just hope I get one.
Yeah. Is that the truth, right?
That is the truth.
But I mean, this is going to be, it'll be really interesting because I feel like last year I was pretty fortunate with the releases I got. But this year I feel like it's going to be, bars and restaurants being back open and distributors having less of stuff. I just don't know where we're going to be at this fall bourbon release season. But I mean, I can dream about it. I can think about it.
So what are the top 5 you hope to get?
If I had to pick a top 5, okay, you're always going to put a Pappy and a BTAC in there, right? So if I could get either of those.
So Pappy to sell, BTAC to keep? Is that what you're saying?
I'd actually keep both of them if I could.
Okay.
I really would. I had 2 bottles of Stag last year, and I was like, oh, now I got a trading chip, and I think I talked about it last episode. If I had to do over again, I probably wouldn't have traded that Stag, even though it was a good deal, and for everybody involved, but I probably wouldn't have done it. So Pappy and a Stag, always want to get my hands on Old Forester birthday bourbon if I can.
I think that's one I like in my collection.
Yeah.
I've only had, I think, 1 pour of it.
Okay.
And I liked it.
Yep.
I would just like to have it in the collection.
Oh, no doubt.
Fat bottom boy with my Willet to match it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Willet, oh my God, that won't die. That pot still. Is it over there? I think I'm going to go have a pour of it here in a second.
Yeah.
That'd be nice to follow this beer up with.
Yeah, wash out your glass with it.
There you go. But I don't know what I put the other 2. I think it would be anything. Like, it can be something as simple as a Yellowstone, and Yellowstone releases used to be pretty easy to come by, but now last year it was pretty tough to get one.
I've only had one experience with Yellowstone, and I was at my one and only gala I went to.
Okay.
And we put a damn hurtin' on the bottles.
Okay.
So that's the only. Well, I'll say I put the hurting on it after I shouldn't have been putting the hurting on it.
Okay.
And so that's the only experience I had with it. So, but when I feel like when I go to Total Wine, they have that pick. It's like $123.
Yeah.
It just feels high, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just because I was having it at a that event, And I was like, there's no way, they were going to be serving everyone, this bottle at that expensive. So that's why maybe I feel in my head it's a little overpriced.
I used to feel the same way, but now that I realize everything's priced in fall bourbon release season, if you can find something under $100, you'd be happy.
Oh,
right.
Right.
And so to me, I agree with you because back when I was a little bit more discerning about the special releases, and I'll be honest, I've had 3 or 4 Yellowstone special releases, and there were 2 I did not like. And then last year I was really looking forward to it, and I'd get my hands on a bottle. Mm-hmm. Just never got one. So
you really, your history hasn't been that great with it, though.
Well, 50%'s not bad. And, honestly, the one I opened it, and I was really harsh on it, and then by the time I finished the bottle, I liked it a little bit more. But, I said something as simple as Yellowstone, but the other ones I would definitely put in there is I always look forward to Four Roses release. They always do that limited edition small batch in the fall, and it becomes a big deal. And last year it was accessible last year if you were on the hunt. It showed up in a lot of places like Costco and Kroger and Liquor Barn and Total Wine. Like everybody seemed to get some in addition to the distillery releasing I think 200 or 300 bottles, which I know a lot of people that got in on that too. And so that was also one that I look for every year. And then, interestingly enough, maybe one of the King of Kentucky, Old Forester, Russell's. Russell's is going to release a toasted this year, which I don't know how I feel about that because they're releasing this amazing stuff like the 13-year-old Russell Reserve, and last year released 17-year, and they've released the vintage stuff, the 2003 and 2005.
What's the year on the toasted?
I don't think it has an age statement, so it's just like a toasted
6 years. So
I don't know if it's 6 year because I think I don't know. I feel like I read or heard somewhere that one of the press releases said it was going to be a mixture of older and younger bourbons, but spoiler alert, we're going to review that Basil Hayden toast at some point in time. I already opened it, and
you have thoughts?
I think that the toast craze might be ending soon based on certain brands doing weird things with toast, so we'll see. But, I'm excited. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to, and, of course, it's like anything else. You look forward to it. You hope to get enough to feel good about it, but you really never know what you're going to get because it's a tough pool.
Well, yeah, like I said, I hope to get one bottle.
You got some good bottles in your collection, but, hopefully we'll get you some more.
Yeah. And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts on this beer bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.